Welcome to Millennium Time Bulletin. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium News Channel 24. Today I'm bringing you the latest updates from around the world. Let's begin with today's top headlines. Israel and Hamas agree to ceasefire, hostages freed and international aid begins in Gaza. UK's armor in Kyiv for security talks with a pledge for a 100-year partnership with Ukraine. India achieves first space docking, becoming fourth country to achieve major milestone. China offers to invest $3.7 billion in oil refinery in Sri Lanka. USA removes restriction on key Indian nuclear entity to boost cooperation. Pope Francis injures arm after falling at the Vatican. European Union state demands honest life from future citizens. Mixed signal in global markets amid US and Latin America divergence. Sitanshu Khotak to join India's men cricket team as batting coach ahead of England series, report says. March Madness will pay women's teams under a new structure approved by the NCAA. Now let's look at the details. A Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal is set to take effect on January 19, 2025. The deal is dependent on an Israeli government vote scheduled on the January 16. The deal consists of 3 stages. In the first stage, 33 hostages, including women, children, and older adults, will be released over 42 days. The hostages held since October 7 in Hamas tunnel include 2 Americans. Around 94 hostages remain and 34 are feared dead. Israel will also allow displaced Palestinians to return to northern Gaza, though much of the area remains in ruin. US President Joe Biden expressed strong support, highlighting months of US diplomacy in securing the agreement. Biden praised the collaboration between the administration and his President-elect Donald Trump's team. The third stage will focus on releasing any remaining dead hostages. Reconstruction of Gaza will be supervised by the Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations. Israel is expected to fully withdraw from Gaza during his phase. 15 months of the war have devastated Gaza. Challenges remain, especially in the later stages of the deal. Right-wing figures in Netanyahu government oppose measures that could end Israel's control over Gaza. There is also the issue of who will govern Gaza after Hamas, with the Palestinian Authority lacking credibility among Gaza's residents. The deal has been based on the table since May 2024, but Israeli resistance called the process stalled because of the desires for continued control of Gaza. Netanyahu's government has considered establishing settlements and reducing Gaza Palestinian population. The involvement of US President Donald Trump changed the dynamic, leading to an agreement. The deals faced by the significant opposition from the Netanyahu's coalition. Some members are likely to resist it, possibly sabotaging the process. It remains unclear whether they will stay in the coalition, depending on how the deal unfolds. The deal does not specify a new governing authority in Gaza. Netanyahu has rejected a role for Palestinian Authority or international bodies in Gaza's future. Hamas, weakened by the war, is unlikely to cede control. It's possible that Israel may manage the conflict with Hamas remaining in power. Life for displaced Palestinians is harsh. Some live in tents, facing daily struggle for food, safety, and health care. For the families of hostages, the ceasefire brings hope. but their future remain uncertain. Some hostages have been held for over a year and many families don't know if their loved ones are alive or dead. The situation in Gaza is dire, with vast areas inhabitable and thousands of Palestinians still missing. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer arrived in Ukraine's capital on Thursday with a pledge to help guarantee the country's security for a century. Days before Donald Trump is sworn in as the US president, the British government says Starmer and Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky will sign a 100-year partnership treaty in Kyiv covering areas including defense, science and energy trade. Starmer's unannounced visit in his first trip to Ukraine since he took office in July. He visited the country in 2023 when he was the opposition leader and has twice held talks with Zelensky in London since becoming prime minister. The war will be 3 years old next month. The UK, one of the Ukraine's biggest military backers, has pledged £12.8 billion, that is $16 billion, in military and civilian aid since Russia's full-scale invasion 3 years ago, and has trained more than 50,000 Ukrainian troops on British soil. Starmer is to announce another £40 million for Ukraine's post-war economic recovery. But the UK's role is dwarfed by that of the United States, and there is a deep uncertainty over the fate of American support for Ukraine once Trump takes office on January 20. The president-elect has balked at the cost of US aid to Kyiv, says he wants to bring war to a swift end, and is planning to meet Russian President Putin, for whom he has long expressed admiration. Kyiv allies have rushed to flood Ukraine with as much support as possible before Trump's inauguration. Zelensky has said that it is in peace negotiation Ukraine would need assurances about its future protection from its much bigger neighbor. Britain says its 100-year pledge is part of that assurance and will help ensure Ukraine and is never ever again vulnerable to the kind of brutality inflicted on it by Russia, which seized Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and attempted a full-scale invasion in February 2022. The deal commits the two sides to cooperate on defense, especially maritime security against Russian activity in the Baltic Sea, Black Sea and the Sea of Azov, and on technology projects including drone, which have become vital weapon for the both sides in the war. The treaty also includes a system to help track stolen Ukrainian grain exported by Russia from occupied part of the country. Putin's ambition to wrench the Ukrainian away from its closest partners have been a monumental strategic failure. Instead, we are closer than ever, and the partnership will take to the friendship zone in the next level. Starmer said ahead of the visit. Zelensky has said any such proposal should go alongside a timeline for Ukraine to join NATO. The alliance's 32 members countries say that Ukraine will join one day, but not until the war. Trump has appeared to sympathize with the Putin's position that Ukraine should not be the part of NATO. India on Thursday became the fourth country to successfully achieve an unmanned docking in space, a feat seen as pivotal for the future missions as the New Delhi cements its place as a global space power. The United States, Russia and China are the only other countries to have developed and tested the docking capability. Spacecraft docking successfully completed, a historic moment for ISRO, the ISRO said. The Indian Space Agency mission called the Space Docking Experiment, that is the SPADEX, involved deploying two small spacecraft weighing about 220 kilograms each. Its low Earth orbit, the two spacecraft called Target and Chaser blasted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in southern Andhra Pradesh state on December 30. Abroad, an Indian-made PSLV rocket. On Thursday, they conducted a rendezvous before docking together. Congratulations to our scientists at congratulate ISRO and the entire space fraternity for the successful demonstration of space docking of satellite. It is a significant stepping stone for India's ambition space mission in the year to come. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on X, "In-docking technology is critical for future space endeavor since the satellite servicing and when the multiple rocket launches are required to achieve mission objectives. Domestically developed docking technology will be crucial if India is set to succeed in advancing its ambition of putting an Indian national on the moon, building a homegrown space station and returning lunar samples, according to the ISRO. The technology will allow India to transfer material from one satellite or spacecraft to another, such as payload, lunar sample, or eventually humans in space," Singh told reporters at a press conference on December 31. As part of the mission, the docked spacecraft will also demonstrate the transfer of electric power between them once they are linked. This is essential for operating in space robotics, spacecraft control, and payload operations during the future missions. According to a press release by the Sri Lankan President Media Division, his visit marked a significant milestone by securing the largest foreign direct investment of date, that is of $3.7 billion Chinese investment to build a state-of-art oil refinery at the Hambantota, Sri Lanka. China has offered to invest $3.7 billion in Sri Lanka, stated to be the biggest ever foreign investment in the island nation, to build a state-of-art oil refinery, as the two countries signed a new plan to upgrade BRI cooperation during Sri Lankan President Anura Kumar Dissanayake state visit. On Thursday, Dissanayake met Chinese Premier Li Qiang and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People Congress Zhao Leji and pitched for more Chinese investment in his address to the Chinese firms. A day earlier, Dissanayake held talks with the Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, following which the two sides signed 15 agreements, according to a press release by the Sri Lankan President's Mega Division. His visit marked a significant milestone by securing the largest foreign direct investment to the date, that is of $3.7 billion Chinese investment, to build a state-of-art oil refinery at Hambantota. The significant achievement was formalized this morning with the signing of agreement between Sri Lanka Ministry of Energy and Sinopec, a leading Chinese international petroleum corporation, it said. The refinery will have a capacity of 2 lakh barrels. China has secured the strategic Hambantota port in the Indian Ocean on a 99-year lease as a debt swap. China has also secured a long-term release and the lease to build an economic zone at Hambantota. Dissanayake, incidentally, was a critic of Hambantota port deal for its long-term lease while he was in the opposition. It was seen as a balancing act, as last year India and Sri Lanka inked a deal to jointly develop 85 World War II era oil storage tanks at the strategic Trincomalee port in the eastern region of the country. As Dissanayake concluded his visit, his second foreign tour after his last month visit to the New Delhi, where he committed not to allow Sri Lankan territory to be used against the interest of India. There is no word from both sides yet whether Sri Lanka would permit the controversial research ships of China, regarded as the spy ship by India, to be berthed at the Hambantota port. The United States has announced the removal of restrictions on 3 prominent Indian nuclear institutions, a decision that is poised to significantly enhance the US-India relationship and strengthen collaboration in nuclear energy and related sectors. The 3 entities are Indian Rare Earths Limited, that is IREL, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, that is called as the BARC, and the Indira Gandhi Atomic Research Center, that is IGCAR. had previously faced tight export controls due to their nuclear and defense activities. This move, which is expected to streamline licensing procedure, is seen as a step forward, fostering deeper cooperation between the US and India in the field of nuclear energy and research. With these restrictions lifted, both nations are now positioned to work more closely on critical areas such as advanced nuclear energy technology, research, and development. US removes restriction on key Indian nuclear entity to boost cooperation. With these restrictions lifted, both nations are now positioned to work more closely on critical areas such as the research and development. The decision highlights the shared commitment of both countries to peaceful nuclear cooperation, with a particular emphasis on strengthening clean air energy supplies. The official suggests that the easing of restriction will facilitate the secure supply of vital critical minerals, a key factor in the global shift towards renewable energy. The US and India view this development as integral to the enhancing energy security and ensuring sustainable development on a global scale. According to a statement from the US State Department, the policy shift aligns with the broader objective of the Indo-US strategic partnership. The move reflects the growing importance of the alliance in addressing global energy challenges while maintaining high standards in the security and non-proliferation efforts. Pope Francis has fallen over and injured his right arm but did not suffer any broken bones, the Vatican says. In a statement, the Holy See Press Office said that due to a fall on Thursday morning in the Sessa Santa Marta, the Pope's residence, the 88-year-old pontiff suffered a concussion in his right forearm without fracture. The statement added that his arm has been immobilized as a precautionary measure. Official pictures showed the Pope wearing a cloth sling as he held meetings. Despite the fall, Francis held 5 meetings on Thursday, according to the Vatican, including the Alvaro Lario, the president of the International Fund of Agriculture Development, and priest from an Argentine college based in Rome. On Wednesday, the Pope led his general audience in the Vatican and seemed in good spirit, throwing a tennis ball to a dog during a circus performance. The Pope has suffered a number of health problems in recent years, and this is the second fall he has had in the matter of weeks. In early December, he appeared with a large bruise on his chin after falling and hitting his bedside table during the night. Since 2022, the Pope has made use of a wheelchair due to mobility problems caused by pain in his knees. In his recent published autobiography, Hope, Francis said that he is in a good condition and ruled out resigning from his position, but said that the reality is quite simple, that I am old. He said it was embarrassing at first to have using a wheelchair, but old age never arrives by itself, and it must be accepted for what it is. He added, the church is governed using the head and the heart, not the legs. I do physiotherapy twice a week. I use a walking stick, do as many steps as I can carry on. The Pope will be appearing on Italian talk show Chi Tempo Ci Fa this Sunday on Nove, a channel owned by the Warner Bros. Immigrants hoping to become Swedish citizens must demonstrate that they have lived an honest life and commit to respecting the Nordic nations' liberal values under new rules announced by Migration Minister Mr. John Forsell. The new regulations were proposed by the government-appointed commission and adopted by the government this week. Forsell said at a press conference on Tuesday they will come into force next year. Under the new system, immigrants applying for citizenship will have to prove that they have resided in Sweden for 8 years and they have lived an honest life with no criminal conviction or outstanding debts, but before and after arriving in Sweden, both these things should be valid. Currently, the Swedish authorities only examine applicants' conduct after arrival, and immigrants may apply for citizenship after 5 years. This is particularly important at a time when Sweden has welcomed hundreds of thousands of people from many parts of the world in recent years. Forsell told reporters, "You you should feel proud to be a Swedish citizen, and you should only feel proud once you have made an effort. Forssell said that immigrants will have to prove that they accept Swedish values, including the equality of women and the LGBTQ community. If you don't accept that, Sweden is not the country for you, he stated. Forssell's press conference came 4 months after he announced that Sweden would begin paying immigrants to return to their home countries, and he called a paradigm shift in our migration policy. Back in 2015, then Foreign Minister Margot Wallström declared Sweden as a humanitarian superpower and opened its border to over 160,000 asylum seekers, more per capita than any other European country. Just under 1 million people, mostly from the Middle East and North Africa, have immigrated to Sweden in the recent years since. Now bringing you the latest update on today's market trends. Today's market activity paints a mixed picture for investors, with gains in some regions countered by decline in others. In the United States, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped slightly by 6.16 points, signaling minimal market volatility. However, the broader S&P 500 showed resilience with a modest gain of 2 points, and the small cap Russell 2000 advanced by 0.07%, hinting at some investor confidence in smaller firms. The Nasdaq, heavily tech-focused, was the biggest US loser, dropping 58.99 points, likely driven by the profit-taking after recent tech rallies. The volatility index, that is VIX, dropped 1.74%, indicating a declining market anxiety despite the mixed performance. In the Americas, Canada's S&P TSX Composite Index gained 0.33%, and its S&P TSX 60 also climbed by 0.35%, reflecting stability in resource-heavy sectors. However, Brazil's Bovespa suffered a significant setback, losing 1,369 points, possibly due to uncertainty around domestic fiscal policy or commodity price fluctuation. In contrast, Childs' S&P IPSA rose by 0.64, showing localized strength in the region. Mexico's S&P BMV IPC, however, fell 0.45%, shedding 225.90 points, reflecting broader market concerns or corporate-specific headwinds. Overall, today's performance reflects a balancing act between cautious optimism and regional pressures. Investors will likely watch global economic data and earning reports closely in the coming days. The commodities market displays a mixed performance today, with a notable shift across the energy sector, metal, and the agricultural product sector. Energy prices experienced a downturn, with the WTI crude oil slipping to $77.91 and the Brent crude oil following suit, down to 0.72% to $81. The decline may be attributed to easing demand forecast or increased inventory level. In contrast, natural gas ticked upward slightly, gaining 0.03%. A colder weather in key region might boost short-term demand. The metal segment had a brighter day, led by gold, which surged $37.70 to $2,755. The climb underscores its appeal as a safe haven asset amid global economic uncertainty. Silver followed the suit, rising 0.034% to $31.87, signaling strong interest in precious metal across the board. Agriculture commodities faced pressure, with soybeans dropping $0.22 to $10.21. This may reflect weaker demand or improving weather conditions in key producing region, easing supply concerns. Overall, today's commodity market highlights investor caution, with a flight to safety in gold and silver, while energy and agriculture faced downward pressure. Traders will closely monitor economic data and geopolitical development in the coming days to gauge future price movements. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Shweta Samar from Nidali. Keep watching Millennium Time Bulletin.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back after the break. I'm Shweta Simar and you're watching Millennium Time Bulletin. Now let's look at some sports highlights. The Indian men's cricket team is set to add the former first-class cricketer Sitanshi Kotak as its coaching staff ahead of the upcoming England series. Kotak is reportedly set to join the Indian camp as a new batting coach as the BCCI host England in the white ball series starting on January 22. The report said that the former Saurashtra cricketer is set to join Gautam Gambhir-led coaching staff ahead of the 5-match T20 series against England. Kotak, 52, has been batting coach at the National Cricket Academy since 2019. After India's 3-1 Test series loss against Australia, the reports of the management looking to add a new member to their coaching staff emerged. India boasts 4 senior staff members, including 2 assistant coaches, Abhishek Nair and Ryan Ten-Doshate, but were without a proper batting coach since the former head coach Rahul Dravid's departure. India batters struggled in the recent Border Gavaskar Trophy, which led a heavy series defeat. Top cricketers Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill came under scrutiny for their performances against Australia. Kotak's addition to the coaching staff is expected to be the reason behind the lack of runs from the senior cricketers in the red ball cricket. After a disappointing Test series defeat against Australia, the Indian men's cricket team is set to host England in the white ball series starting on January 22 and will be joined by the former first-class cricketer Sitanshi Kotak as the new batting coach. Women's basketball team finally will be paid for playing games in the NCAA tournament each March, just like the men have for years under a plan approved Wednesday at the NCAA convention. The unanimous vote by the NCAA membership was met by a round of applause, was a final step towards a pay structure for women playing in March Madness after the Division I Board of Governors voted unanimously for the proposal in August. NCAA President Charlie Baker joined others in giving credit for the creation of a performance fund to those who came before and helped build women basketball. "We are the lucky ones," Baker said. "We got to be here on the day it becomes a reality. Now comes more work to continue investing in women's basketball to grow the sport even more. That's the part I hope that someday down the road we all will be someone to say about that. We have done a good work. They sit on the shoulder of the work that we did," Baker said. South Carolina coach Dawn Staley, whose comeback and the Gamecocks went undefeated, winning last year's national championship and her 3rd overall, said her first thought hearing of the vote was a simple yes. "This continues our fight to lift women's basketball to historic levels," Staley said. "I appreciate the decision by the Kaplan, Hecker and Fink law firm to include the law of unit in their report as a key issue holding women's basketball back from capitalizing on the historic viewership and the quality of product on the court." That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at Millennium News 24. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel Millennium News 24. You can watch us on Android and iOS devices as well as on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV and all smart TV platforms. Enjoy entertainment and the latest news on our social media channels. Download the Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA for Android and Millennium News on Google. Thank you for being part of Millennium News Channel 24.